Columbia-born singer, songwriter, actor, and record producer Angie Stone died in a car crash early this morning.
It has been one heck of a ride. This last month, the enemy was trying to take me out. They've taken pretty much everything. They've stolen all the monies that were due to me. They have basically absorbed in that company.
Imagine this. A powerful soul singer who just weeks ago exposed a scandal that could shake the music industry to its core, suddenly meets a tragic end. Angie Stone, a beloved R&B legend, had recently come forward with claims that her own record label had been cheating her out of the royalties she was rightfully owed. Word spread fast that she was preparing to take
People that were working on my behalf never even registered the song.
Legal action, a lawsuit that could have revealed years of behind-the-scenes exploitation. But before she could take that next step, something shocking happened. On March 1st, 2025, Angie Stone lost her life in a car crash. What made it even more suspicious? Out of 9 people in the vehicle,
Properly registered by the companies that I signed over,
she was the only one who didn't survive. It's the kind of story that has everything: fame, fortune, love, betrayal, and an ending no one saw coming. Fans and industry insiders alike were left stunned. How did a woman who shaped the sound of R&B for decades end up making headlines for such a heartbreaking reason? There are so many questions, and we're about to go through every twist and turn of Angie Stone's incredible journey, from her gospel roots to the mysterious circumstances surrounding her death. Angie Stone, born Angela Brown, was raised in Columbia, South Carolina, with music running through her veins. As a child, she sang gospel in church, her powerful voice developing under the influence of her father, who led a local gospel quartet. But young Angie had dreams.
40-something years in the business, I'm like, where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving all my royalties.
Dreams that stretched far beyond the church choir. As a teenager, she took her first big step into the music industry. In 1979, she became known as Angie B, part of The Sequence, the first all-female hip-hop trio. Their track Funk You Up was a groundbreaking hit, proving that women could dominate the rap scene just as much as men. But that was just the beginning of Angie's long and evolving career. By the early 90s, she had shifted from hip-hop to R&B, joining the group Vertical Hold. They made waves with their New Jack Swing hit, Seems You're Much Too Busy, but Angie's real destiny was waiting for her as a solo artist. In 1999, she finally got her moment with the release of her debut album Black Diamond, which went gold. It featured the soulful classic No More Rain, In This Cloud, a song that would define her signature sound. Then, in 2001, she released Mahogany Soul, an album that cemented her as a force in the neo-soul movement. It included the unforgettable breakup anthem Wish I Didn't Miss You, a song that still resonates deeply with listeners today. Angie wasn't just making R&B music, she was shaping an entire movement. Her deep, rich vocals and emotionally raw lyrics made her one of the most respected voices in soul music. As the 2000s unfolded, her success only grew. She earned 3 Grammy nominations and won 2 Soul Train Lady of Soul awards, solidifying her place among the greats. Critics praised her as one of the leading figures in neo-soul, alongside icons like Erykah Badu and Jill Scott. Her influence extended beyond music, as she stepped into acting, appearing in films like The Hot Chick and The Fighting Temptations, alongside Cuba Gooding Jr. She also made her mark on reality television with R&B Divas, where fans got a glimpse into her life behind the music. By 2021, her contributions to music were fully recognized when she was honored with a Soul Music Icon award. After more than 4 decades in the industry, she had left an undeniable mark. But while the world saw a celebrated artist with a legendary career, behind the scenes, her personal life was just as intense as her music. When it came to love and relationships, Angie's life was filled with passion, heartbreak, and unexpected twists. In the mid-90s, she was in a high-profile relationship with fellow R&B singer D'Angelo. Together, they became one of the most iconic couples in neo-soul. Angie played a major role in shaping his early sound, and the two even had a son together, Michael D'Angelo Archer II. For a while, it seemed like the perfect love story, the queen of neo-soul and the man behind Brown Sugar. But as D'Angelo's fame skyrocketed, cracks began to appear in their relationship. Eventually, they went their separate ways, leaving Angie with bittersweet memories and a son who would always remind her of that chapter in her life. Looking back, she often spoke about how, when they met, D'Angelo was just a shy 19-year-old. She was one of the few who saw his potential before the world did. It was a relationship.
I was in a very high-profile relationship with D'Angelo. Shortly after the breakup between us, everything kind of slowed down in my world in terms of tour dates, work. Perception was the worst, of course.
Relationship that shaped both of their careers, even if it didn't last. But that wasn't the only surprising connection in Angie's love life. Believe it or not, Hollywood superstar Idris Elba once had a huge crush on her. Yes, that Idris Elba. In a 2015 interview, Angie revealed that back in the early 2000s, when Idris was still an up-and-coming actor, he was cast in one of her music videos. During the shoot, he completely fell for her, making it no secret to their friends that he was in love with Angie Stone. Her response? She saw him as more of a brother than anything else and put him firmly in the friend zone. At the time, she was still involved with D'Angelo, so romance with Idris wasn't something she considered. But looking back, once Idris became one of Hollywood's biggest stars, she couldn't help but joke about having second thoughts. Angie's life was filled with music, love, and success, but there was also hardship, especially when it came to the business side of the industry. Despite her impact on R&B, she faced financial struggles, unfair treatment from record labels, and battles to get the credit she deserved. And that brings us back to her final days. Just weeks before her tragic death, she had spoken out about being cheated out of her earnings by her own record label. She was preparing to fight back, determined to expose the truth. But then, out of nowhere, she was gone. A fatal car crash, with circumstances that many find hard to believe. Angie Stone recently admitted in an interview that she regrets a decision she made in the past. Laughing about it, she reflected on turning down Idris Elba before he became one of Hollywood's biggest heartthrobs. It's a twist of fate no one could have predicted. Her personal life has been as fascinating as her music career, keeping her name in the gossip world for years. But success comes with challenges, and Angie wasn't one to shy away from the harsh realities of the music industry.
Idris and I were like sister and brother. We both had the same manager. And, the little crushing here and there.
In December 2024, she made headlines by openly criticizing Universal Music Group, UMG, her former record label. She had looked into her royalty payments only to discover that she wasn't receiving what she was owed. Instead, her earnings had seemingly disappeared. She didn't hold back when she called out UMG, exposing what many artists have quietly endured. Her boldness shook the industry as she voiced what so many had feared to say. Fans immediately rallied behind her, praising her courage and demanding justice. For decades, Angie had poured her heart into her music, creating hits that made millions for record labels. The thought that she hadn't received her fair share was beyond frustrating. Her confrontation with such a powerful company put her in a tough position, but she refused to back down. She was determined to fight for what was rightfully hers, no matter the cost. No one could have guessed that this battle would take such a dark and unexpected turn. By early 2025, Angie was still going strong creatively. She had recently released a new album in 2023 and had exciting projects in the works. Everything seemed to be falling into place. But on February 29th, after an incredible performance in Alabama, her life took a devastating turn. In the early hours of March 1st, Angie was traveling from Mobile, Alabama to Atlanta with her band and crew. They were likely in high...
A lot of my publishing, a lot of my royalties, my mechanicals, they have all pretty much been stolen. They've taken pretty much everything. They have taken all the monies that were due to me. They have basically absorbed.
Spirits, talking about the show and enjoying the ride when the unthinkable happened. At around 4 a.m., their Mercedes van flipped over on Interstate 65. Before anyone could react, an 18-wheeler truck crashed into them, causing massive destruction. The crash was brutal, and the aftermath was pure chaos. When the wreckage settled, it became clear that Angie had suffered the worst injuries. Tragically, she was the only one who didn't make it out alive. In an instant, the world lost a musical legend, and what should have been a routine trip became a shocking international headline. As the news of her passing spread, fans around the world were heartbroken. Social media was flooded with messages of grief and disbelief. People refused to believe it. How could someone so full of life be gone so suddenly? Musicians from all generations shared their condolences, remembering the incredible talent and soul Angie had brought to the world. Her family was devastated. Her daughter Diamond and her son Michael released an emotional statement expressing their sorrow, saying they never imagined they would have to face such a painful reality. They described their mother as their everything, someone irreplaceable. Angie's longtime publicist also spoke about the deep loss, emphasizing that her music and spirit would live on forever. Fans mourned not just the loss of an artist, but the loss of a woman who had given them music that comforted, healed, and inspired. From love songs to anthems of empowerment, her voice had been a part of so many lives. The pain of losing her was immeasurable. But as the grief settled, an unsettling question began to emerge. Many people couldn't ignore the eerie timing of Angie's death. Just months before, she had publicly taken on a major record label. Some started to wonder, was this really just a tragic accident? On social media, discussions took a darker turn. One person posted, "I don't want to be that person, but how does Angie Stone get into a fatal car crash right after exposing UMG?" It was a thought that resonated with many. Could her willingness to speak out have put her in danger?